English sentences 2, over. He looked over the report. She thought over the possibilities. They talked over the plan. We decided over dinner. I waited over an hour. The plane flew over the city. He jumped over the fence. She ran over to him. They walked over to the store. He handed over the keys. She passed over the offer. We moved over to the other side. The dog chased over the hill. He thought over his mistakes. She slept over at her friends. They celebrated over the phone. We argued over the remote. The car drove over the bridge. He glanced over the document. She covered over the scratch. They went over the budget. I checked over my notes. He presided over the meeting. She presided over the ceremony. They presided over the event. We looked over the options. He went over the details. She skimmed over the text. They pored over the ancient map. I stumbled over my words. He tripped over the rug. She fell over the chair. They tumbled over each other. We laughed over old times. He ordered over the internet. She bought over-the-counter medicine. They sold over the phone. We donated over the weekend. He borrowed over $1,000. She lent over 100 books. They shared over their snacks. I finished over 5 miles. He ran over the marathon distance. She cycled over the mountain pass. They hiked over the rocky terrain. We sailed over the calm sea. He swam over to the boat. She dived over the edge. They floated over the water. I planned over the trip. He scheduled over the appointments. She organized over the files. They managed over the project. We supervised over the team. He oversaw the construction. She oversaw the renovations. They oversaw the entire operation. I learned over time. He grew over the years. She matured over the decades. They evolved over the centuries. We discovered over and over again. He repeated over and over. She recited over and over. They practiced over and over. I practiced over the difficult passage. He rehearsed over the lines. She perfected over the technique. They mastered over the skill. I oversaw the planting. He supervised the harvest. She managed the distribution. They directed the entire process. We collaborated over the challenges. He overcame the obstacles. She surpassed the expectations. They exceeded the limits. I poured over the ingredients. He stirred over the mixture. She baked over the specified time. They fried over high heat. We grilled over the charcoal. I toasted over the open flame. He broiled over the heat. She poached over the simmering liquid. They stewed over the low flame. 1. Baked over the coals. He roasted over the fire. She seared over the hot pan. They simmered over the gentle heat. We cooked over the stove. I boiled over the pot. She steamed over the basket. They simmered over the burner. I sautéed over the high heat. He stirred over the pan. She flipped over the pancake. They flipped over the spatula. We flipped over the page. I flipped over the news. He flipped over the idea. She flipped over the coin. They flipped over the rock. I flipped over the table. She flipped over the chair. They flipped over the mattress. We flipped over the entire room. He flipped over the car. She flipped over the motorcycle. They flipped over the bicycle. I flipped over the skateboard. He flipped over the surfboard. She flipped over the snowboard. They flipped over the scooter.